Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. This is Mithun. Today we are going to learn about AWS CodePipeline. So we are trying to do a CI/CD project where we are trying to update our code in GitHub, and it should be automatically get updated in AWS S3 Bucket using CodePipeline. So what exactly happens when we try to just have a look at it? So whatever the information or the code will be updated in the GitHub, when we do a commit change, it will automatically trigger a code pipeline to trigger, and the trigger will actually copy the information from the GitHub and store that information in S3 bucket. So whenever we do a GitHub commit, this process should automate itself and our S3 bucket should get updated with this new information. So what we will do today, first we will go ahead and create a S3 bucket in AWS. So let me just click on create, and I'm going to type my bucket name with AFFORDABLE. So that's the name I'm going to give, and in AWS region, that is Asia Pacific, and I'm also going to enable my ACL, and then I'll say block all public access. I'll uncheck that option and acknowledge, and I also do enable my bucket versioning, and I'll just go ahead and create a bucket. So okay, there is a capital letter in A, so that I'm going to remove it with space. Okay, my first process, that is creating a bucket, is almost getting over. All right, so we have our the first step, that is creating a bucket. Okay, let me just check where is it. Yeah, this is my bucket, and in my bucket I don't have any information updated here. So now the next topic is connecting to my code pipeline. So I'm opening another page here, a new tab. In new tab, I'm going to search for code pipeline. Okay, so it's asking for different options. So code, so we have code pipeline. So it's a continuous delivering process that we are trying to do. Okay, so we are going to create a task here in creating a pipeline. So we have to give a name for this pipeline. So I will give So I'm going to give, it can give any name. So right now I'm giving this name, and it is already creating a role here, and I'll just click on next. Source provider. So in the drop down I have to select GitHub version 1, and I'll say I want to get connected to my GitHub account. If you're doing it the first time, it will ask you to type in your GitHub account name and the password. This process I've already done earlier, so it is just asking me for the confirmation. Once your GitHub version is already added, you can check here your GitHub repository. So right today we are going to use this particular repository, and that's also a branch. So I'm using the name of the branch as main. If by default it is a master, but I've changed my branch name as main in my repository. Okay, so GitHub webhook recommended, so that I'm just leaving all the options as it is. And we can actually use AWS Code Build or Jenkins, can add it here, but right now I'm skipping the stage. Right now I'm not using those. And where exactly we have to deploy our provider. So I wanted to update in my S3 bucket. So once I select my S3 bucket, it will show up my bucket name. So we just created a new bucket. Let me see if that is visible here. Yes, myth affordable, and I will say extract file before deploy. So all the files which is needed to be extracted and then it get deployed. So I'll just click on next. So we have a summary of the code pipeline which has been updated here. I'll say create a pipeline. So meanwhile it is getting created, we will just get back to our GitHub page. So in GitHub page, I've already uploaded a GitHub repository. It have index.html, this particular file. I'll just say open index.html here, and I have a very small code. It's a simple HTML file, so we have some information updated here, and that's it. So while this process has been getting updated, you will also see a checkbox available here. It shows that GitHub version just now it has been updated, and the information has been downloaded to the S3 bucket. So let's go ahead and refresh our S3 bucket. Okay, we would see that index.html which is available here. I'm making this index.html as a static website, so I'll just go to properties, and the last option I will say edit my static and enable my static web hosting. So once it is done, so index.html, so that's my home page by default, and also my error page I'm just giving the same. I'll just say save that. So it is getting converted to a static web page. I hope it is completed. Yes, and I will go ahead and select my index.html page here, and in actions I will say make it as a public ACL. So that has also been done. Once it is done, so I will just go ahead and try to open my index.html page. So I'll just go to my endpoint link. So I copied my URL, and I'll say open my URL. So I have welcome to affordable web app. This is a test. This is for testing in progress. So I have a simple web hosting page, a static web hosting page which is available here. It is as that we see in the code here. So I will, for our test purpose, I will just remove a couple of codes from my GitHub. So I will say I'm directly getting down to my GitHub page and removing this code here. You can update from your computer for GitHub repository connection and things like that, but I'm just doing it in a very simple way. And I'll say commit changes, and it's get updated. So when we go down to our website right now, it shows this page cannot be displayed, and there is some process which is also taking place because we have actually committed some changes. And if I go to my object, and I'll make this one as actions again, and make this one as public ACL, and change this option. Okay, and let me just go ahead and check my website. So you would see that welcome affordable, testing in progress, and whatever the information I've updated, which is already get updated here without interfering with the S3 bucket. So our code pipeline is working fine, and it's automatically getting updated. So whenever we do a commit our changes, so let's go ahead and do another commit changes. So copy this information, I'll say paste, and I will say testing completed, and I'll also go ahead and commit my changes in GitHub, and I'll come back to code pipeline. So you would see that just now that is succeeded the process, and it is actually trying to execute. That's a deployment in progress. So you would see that deployment is in progress and trying to extract file and try to update those information. And we will just go ahead and make this one as a public ACL, make it as public, and then when I go ahead and refresh this page, you would see that the testing has been completed, which has been getting updated in a static website. So we are coming back to our topic. So we use our AWS Code pipeline to create a pipeline between GitHub and S3 Bucket. So what are the information that we update in the GitHub, it will go automatically, the code pipeline will do the job, and it get updated in S3 Bucket. I hope you are able to understand this topic, and if you have any questions and queries, please do update in the YouTube link. I will be ready to answer your queries. And thanks for watching, and you have a great day ahead.